middle for the side of eStar. Of course, you still do have junglers open, but this is clearly the S tier 80 carry left up. But you do also have Kalista, which has been what some teams have opted for. Some not feeling comfortable playing that heavy early game style.
I will say this pick ban will be super different to what we just saw with Suning and DMO because the priorities are going to shift. And remember, Tien plays things like Graves, so does Wei.
I want to see if FPX take away the Ornn, because we just mentioned 11 of his 12 games have been played on Ornn for Xiaobai. So do you just say, hey, Khan can play Ornn, let's just take that away now. It pairs with the Kalista in the sense that we're building up for this strong 5v5 team fight. And, you know, what can Xiaobai pick?
Khan's played quite a lot of it as well. Put him into a corner, exploit what was a weakness in 2020 spring for eStar.
The other route you could go is picking up your jungler here, of course. You can go for something like a Graves or a Trundle.
If you talk about denying picks, we came into this segment talking about FunPlus champion pool and how influential his set has been.
Yeah, it's sitting at his most played, which it's only 3 games, but still is a pick that FunPlus has clearly looked confident on. And a big thing to me is set neutralizes a lot of laning phase because you just throw those haymakers at the wave, and it's pretty non-interactive. So this could be a way to force FunPlus into having to interact with Duinbi and Tien.
It's like being at a social gathering and you're told by your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you have to go and talk to those people.
It's kind of like looking in the mirror if you're like FunPlus looking at Duinbi's champion pool, right?
Oh, yeah,
everything he plays is what you want to play yourself. So we see the Galio coming out in response, which Galio versus Set. If Set does go towards the mid lane, we're not going to see much. Of course, Set can still be a support pick here for Crisp. Even Tien, I guess, can take this into the jungle.
Kalista Set we've seen as a strong duo, but people in the LPL prefer the Nautilus or the Thresh, which is still both available. While it's going to be a Lee Sin here for Wei. Doesn't want to go towards the Graves here early.
No, so Wei wanting to go towards this early game aggressive pick. Did show some good games on it last split. Of course, was a lot more of a Jarvan player, but we at least see ways that he can help get Galio onto FPX. But at the same time, we want to see, I'd say, more gankable lanes coming out. Sure, Galio provides a lot of CC, but if I see a Lee Sin, I want a lane for him to be able to snowball.
At the very least, you should be looking towards Xiaobai, as we've talked about already, but limited champion pool there, while FPX have their focus on their jungle. The Graves is eventually locked in. So it's going to be an 80 versus 80 jungle matchup running into game 1.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see where FPX go with bans. I would just keep banning out Xiaobai, just because why not, right? He has such a small champion pool. You ban out the Ornn, you ban out the Mordekaiser, and it's like, where does Xiaobai go from here? I know in solo queue he's been playing some Volibear, so that's obviously something that's jumped into the meta.
But they're also looking towards support. So no top lane champion pool just yet. Xiaoxi, those hook champions, all still up. They opt for the Bard instead.
It makes you wonder if they themselves want to take the Thresh, but at the same time, you're going to have to reveal where the set's going on 4 regardless, right, in some sense, because he can be opt into pretty much any role that's not AD carry.
The Corky from Duinbi, I'm glad we don't get to see that, just touching up on a point you said earlier.
I'd love to see Duinbi on some sort of pick that, you know, is more supportive towards the Graves, whether it's something like the Kled, which we've seen him pick against the Galio many times before, but not a lane-centric pick, something that'll pair well with the skirmishes and setting up for Tien for success.
Does Fiddle sit there or not at all?
The thing I don't like about Fiddle against Galio is you walk up, you start draining the lane, and you have 2 options, right? You can either E him or W him. Both of them stop his drain, and then you just throw out your Q, use your passive, and you win out in the trade.
You won't have Kassadin at the very least, so there's been a lot of target selection towards the mid lane. The Time Kench was the final ban from FPX. And this has already been, I think, a pretty fun draft considering how different in contrast it is.
Well, with the set, the thing is, you just have so much flex potential, it's really hard to know what FPX want to do, and still eventually going towards taking that Ornn away, which is great to see and is going to force Xiaobai to show us something new.
Carry matchup or the new Volibear.
I told you, this guy's been spamming it in solo queue. It does fine against the Ornn. It still gives a bit of, I wouldn't say straight up engage, but it pairs well if you have a diving buddy in your composition, which Galio and Lee Sin are both diving buddies.
Very true. Head towards the top side. Got a bear versus a ram. Xiaoxi still has all his champions available, so be no surprise if we see a hook or a sword close enough.
Yeah, I like the Nautilus. Champs with hooks just are great with Xiaoxi.
Dive.
And even just having that single target point-and-click CC from your ultimate is always very reliable and gives Galio another great champion to follow into the fight. And for eStar, I like you just use the word dive because we have a very strong dive on the top side coming out from Lee Sin, Volibear, and Galio, and this comp is going to do very well at that 2-item skirmishing point.
A Doinby Orianna, though.
Yeah, no, another champion. Doinby's been spamming in solo queue. So, and it's not too surprising, right? Doinby does play some late game mages. Of course, he initially got famous for his Rise and Victor.
Very true. But you know what I see from FPX here? Let's start with their comp. Because that all-in, or at least that wombo combo, is the perfect word to use here.
It is. I mean, you have two compositions that want to do pretty much the same thing in the sense that they both want to brawl, they both want a team fight. Of course, FPX's does come online later, and I would say is more reliant on landing these ultimates. At the same time, though, FPX's comp definitely scales and fares much better than eStar's latest.
But I will say eStar, they look like they can dive turrets pretty easy. We know what the new Stormbringer, the Volibear ultimate does 3 seconds at level 6 to Ohm Wrecker the turret, plus a Galio, plus an Ezreal and Nort with a Lee Sin. Lyric, I'm seeing everyone behind the turrets looking towards an FPX lane.
Yeah, exactly. So eStar have the proactive options to try and find and snowball this advantage, and then even going past the dive, they have the global coming out from the Galio, so there'll always be a condition there for them to be able to find kills and push this advantage forward, like we saw in the last series with Sunni.
All right. Here's the narrative, folks. Listen up. eStar made playoffs, out in round 1 from WE. They're a team that should be getting back into the top 8 and rising to form. They've changed their mid into FunFun, but he's enabling the rest of the map. And eStar are sitting on the cusp right now in the middle of the leaderboard. FPX are world champions. You know their story. Let's silence me right here because we're going into game 1 of my favorite matchup of today. And it's pretty easy to say when you've just watched Suning and DMO because eStars and FPX, they're better teams.
I think last series was pretty exciting.
It was, but DMO game 3, sir, let's be real.
I'm just saying, you went about it the wrong way. Last series was super amazing, and I loved it. That just proves how much better this series will be.
When you're being positive, it means I'm being absolutely negative, so fair enough. Normally you're the negative one.
I'd say nothing really out of the ordinary with runes this game.
Can I just interrupt? The reason that is an Ornn Ice sculpture, because there's 3 gods in the game. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's the Volibear, Anivia, and Ornn. They're the 3, like, god titans. So, it's god versus god in the top lane. It's Wardruna versus, you know, I don't know what kind of religion has the ram. I feel like that's also, like, Viking lore.
I don't know why you expect me to know lore.
This is not lore. This is, what do we call it? Norse mythology.
I don't know
Bear
why you expect
versus
me to know that
ram.
either.
Have you watched Vikings on Netflix?
I coached League of Legends.
Yeah, you do. You don't watch anything outside of League, do you?
Not really.
Well, that's disappointing. Go watch Vikings.
But back, I'll say back to the game.
Yep.
We want to see bot lane aggression come out from FPX, but eStar saying no, we're going to be the ones being aggressive. But of course, Kalista plus set, you just have so much potential for all-ins, especially we expect Chris to be taking that Hex Flash, so we'll probably look for an early all-in, especially if TN shadows for that lane. And we've already given the expectation that for eStar, especially once we hit the level 6 point, it's going to be all about diving Khan in the top lane. And you have a couple different rune choices. You can go with the Volibear, but when you're going up against the tanks, you are going to be able to get these extended trades. Going towards Conquer is the expected route.
Now, can we talk about the item choice to start off with the Doran's Ring, with how Volibear trades through the waves and what happens at what point? Because we've seen a little bit of Volibear so far. It was Zoom who pulled it out in JDG. I believe we also had it on a non-English day. But other leagues like LEC, LCS, we're seeing a lot more volley.
Yeah, Volibear just, of course, having mixed damage in his kit, so even the AP you get from Doran's Ring is quite useful, and the mana you get from CSing is just so nice since you can constantly look for these trades on Khan. And of course, you're pretty much going to always win out in the trades. You have a lot of damage, especially coming in from your W, which you do max first. So Xiaobai going to want to play extremely aggressive like we're seeing here.
Sky Splitter crucial to the kit as well as the Bellows Breath with the trade and auto, and TN coming topside. Xiaobai's pushed out. Going to have to burn a flash or just die. With the Frenzied Maul doing nothing, the flash burnt, that's a waste. It's First Blood going over to TN.
And great job from Xiaobai. Doing a good job of trading it first like we're talking about, but not paying attention to the minion waves, not expecting Khan to hit level 3. Gets his full combo off on Xiaobai. And great gank from Tien, not even showing on the ward that Xiaobai got.
You know what the crazy thing is, though? You see the camp there and you think, well, Tien's probably going to come top at some point. But he's still not there. At the end of the day, getting Scuttle as well for Tien, who picked up first blood.
I still think that the trade mistake was the bigger part of it, right?
Okay, right.
All in, we see him get a ton of damage down. Khan instantly hits level 3. He's able to hit his full combo.
Oh, he's actually gone back and picked up a double Doran's ring after dying. So, a bit more damage going to come through. Of course, Sky Splitter there, one of the main trading tools early on, plus with the shield that it gives.
Yep.
Going to be pushed up.
And it also feels a lot easier to get the shield rather than actually do the damage itself. So
it's so telegraphed,
right? It's very telegraphed, but if you yourself are standing in it, you do get that shield. So it is still a nice tool to use in lane.
Now, first item, I know we're going to briefly touch on this. First item we've seen in solo queue, pretty much the Trinity Force all the time.
It's Triforce every single game. What happens after that is where we do see it kind of skew. I've seen a lot of different options, whether it's from Death's Dance, Sunfire, Randuin's, and honestly, the champion is still so new. I don't feel like the verdict is out on which option is best.
Lots to develop as eStar going to be diving early on. We don't even need 6 here, Lyric, because LWX is going to be exhausted. Crisp under wave, good face breaker, teleport being channeled as well. FunFun stayed way too long. This is easy for FPX because eStar over-ambitious.
Yeah. FPX are the composition that wants to be looking to play towards bot side. I'd say it's pretty surprising how heavily eStar's bot lane has been winning out in pressure and trades.
Yeah.
But just great read from Tien to be there. And even Khan doesn't look like he necessarily needed to commit the TP, but I'm sure his TP is also what scared eStar and made them back off with committing to trying to get a kill.
At the very least, the opposite end of eStar while losing that kill will be Xiaobai getting a bit of damage on the turret and pushing the wave up. He's got a CS advantage.
And getting a bounce back, right?
Yep.
So now it's going to come back into Xiaobai once he gets to lane, so they can try to turn that into a gank for Wei onto Khan.
Almost level 6 himself, Tien, heading towards bottom side. Going to be spotted out by a ward, moving in anyway. But for Wink and Xiaoxi, they should be able to escape this one. Going to be very cautious towards the wave.
You don't pick Kalista set to not give that lane some sort of pressure in laning phase. Especially once we hit level 6 and we have those ultimates, is when we really expect to see Tien play heavily around this lane.
But speaking of Tien, you know he has 2 kills now after that dive. He picked up the second one as well. Caulfield's Warhammer this early on, so a bit of CDR.
The depressing thing, though, is that we would be able to say, okay, let's go watch him bully Wei in the enemy jungle. But the enemy mid laner is the Galio, so anytime you go and fight that Lee Sin, Galio could be there, so not going to be able to find that. And great read from Wei saying, hey, we have Prio in the bot lane. My Galio has ultimate. I'm just going to take this dragon for free.
Even though Doomby has his own, it's kind of fun to expect FunFun in at any moment. Now swaps to heal on his summon spell while we're watching the dragon being done by Wei. First clout.
But at the same time, right, you see a Lee Sin, Volley Bear, and Galio on one side. You see an Orianna, Graves, Kalista, I'm not Kalista, Ornn on the other. You expect FPX to be fine giving up some things in the early game.
Yeah. We know what Ornn does later. You can give up 30, 40 CS. The gold he adds, so much value. Doomby has a shove here, Tien hanging off the wing. Khan goes down, puts down a ward himself. He has Call of the Forge God, so the ability to threaten through a bit of range. Also available. So, Lyric, it's your turn. With FPX and 1k gold lead, what happens next? What should we look towards? Is it Rift Herald that'll be coming up in a minute?
So, I feel like FPX isn't the big factor, right? We've set up that eStar are the ones who are able to make proactive plays. We've already talked many times about the level 6 play around topside, so I'd say you have 2 options, right? You can try to set up something like a dive top. You do have all of your ultimates available. You've already talked about how Volley's ult does disable turrets. Or you can just have your bot lane hover and look for the safer play, which is probably just starting the Rift Herald.
Yeah.
But either way, I'd say the eStars are the ones holding the cards.
Okay. Proactivity there, as we do have a pause, ladies and gentlemen. Apologize for that. Maybe it was the Volley Bear. Maybe Xiaobai's like, I don't know what's happening, but my team aren't in my lane yet. So what's going on there?
Yep, gonna be a bit of a pause, and
upsetting.
The players look almost as confused as we are, so
I'm not sure what happened there. We'll find out. We'll get some more information too, but we're only 8 minutes in, and you know what? You know what's happened? Actually, quite a bit.
Yeah, Tien obviously picking up a double kill. Great read of him kind of noticing that eStar are posturing for this bot lane dive, and again, this is one of the things where I wish I was sitting here with a pro view right now to kind of see how that bot lane laning phase went with eStar's bot lane getting so far ahead.
I'm just looking at the refs looking at Xiaobai's computer, and I saw a white screen, so it looks like it's turned on and off. Again, we got to confirm, nothing's official, but there was a bright shining of light.
The face of a man who's relegated to Ornn.
Yeah. Khan has played, this is his most played champion now. You know, Khan's also been playing a bit of Kayle, folks. We haven't, again, seen FPX much on the English broadcast. They've been playing a couple of Thursdays in a row.
We've seen them once, right? We saw their first match. So, not a good look for people who want to see FPX. They see them lose to LNG, and then they don't see them ever again.
Yeah. Man on your screen is FunFun. FunFun, who came from LGD last split. Before that, got LNG into playoffs and then beat IG.
If any of you don't know, he was playing top lane last split.
That wasn't fair.
With LGD trying to figure out their issues in the top side, so was forced onto Ornn duty. I also think he had one Corki game, but...
And he did get to play mid, I think, once.
No,
oh, that was the Corki game, yeah. Obviously didn't play
I
top.
Mean, I'm just saying, last year we did see Corki top in the LPL. It was pretty much only the LPL. I think LCK might have picked it a few times, but never done in the West.
What else? Who played Corki top?
Numerous teams doing it. Victory 5 are doing it. Suning were doing it.
Oh, but yeah, when V5 do something, though, you don't kind of imitate that.
But at the same time, last split, it was pretty normal for teams like this.
Okay. Well, TN's heads are
Sir,
in his hands.
You were here commentating. I was but a mere fan.
Yeah, but as a fan, look, let's be honest. If anyone doesn't know, as a commentator, you pick up games, like us watching this game now is great. But in 2 days, I'll forget what happened.
It's hard to stick with you when you're commentating rather than actually like sitting down.
You're like, oh my, I remember experiencing this moment, but I don't remember actually what happened.
Exactly. Or it's the opposite. When someone starts speaking to you about the game, like with specific highlights, that's when like the whole game like comes back to you and everything you said about it.
But then they ask like, what was your feeling about that game? You're like, well, this team did this. That's when you have to watch it again. It's kind of difficult. It is Xiaobai's computer. You can see on your screen. It's Xiaobai. I have no doubt in my mind. We're just going to find out what exactly is going on as FPX are waiting patiently by. This was a game I was looking forward to because this will define if eStar are still that, you know, potential top 8 team, right? Even though it's not this game exclusively, it's very much about what form are eStar looking in towards the middle of the split.
There is something I want to say towards eStar's credit as someone who didn't have a lot of faith in them coming in, is that they're 2-3 right now in the standings.
Yep.
But when it comes to game score, they're 7-6, which means all of their wins have been 2-0s and all of their losses have been 1-2s. So they've picked up a game against everyone.
Let's just quickly go through. It was LGD they started with, that they took a loss. DMO was clean. BLG, you said 1-2. BLG was, I think, the surprise that they actually lost to BLG.
That was the no smite game.
Oh, it was
That was the Ignite.
Oh, no.
And they still almost won that game.
They almost did. I feel like if he had Smite, that would have been a 2-0. I'm just saying.
Let's even remember in their first game against LGD where they subbed out Xiaobai for some reason.
CJJ came in, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that they brought in CJJ to play Wukong, and guess what? Xiaobai has played Wukong every game since, so...
I think it was peculiar. Like, this team's not really a threat. We can pull in CJJ and give him his first ever, you know, experience on the Rift. As that's the logo. Here we go. Are we right? Yeah. Logo means good. Welcome back to the Rift. I'm not sure what happened, but Xiaobai is okay. Maybe he was playing Volibear. Like, I'm not sure how this champion works. But of course, just joking. He did say he played it in solo queue.
So Rift Herald going to be up in about less than 10 seconds. Obviously, eStar are the ones we should assume have pressure in topside, and even their bot lane consistently pushing right. You can try to commit Xiaoxi to hovering up towards that. Wing should be safe since he's an Ezreal, even if he is facing something like a Kalista.
Sitting there now. No one's made the move just yet. You can see TN is towards the bottom side once more. Just the usual.
We should expect LWX to hit 6 at any time now, and that's when you're going to have a lot of engaged potential coming in from FPX's bot lane and forcing a play onto eStar.
Especially if they start moving as well through the jungle.
Looks like they're the ones that want to go and hover and start up this Herald.
Yeah. Okay. FunFun going to clear out the wave. Doomby moves up, out of vision. Ganking also works, but here to just push the wave, while bottom side turret plating is going to be given up.
Yeah, so actually quite interesting. And the fact that eStar have not committed anything to even posturing for this means that FPX are just going to be able to send their bot lane right back down, and they were able to share a bit of experience in CS in the mid lane. Obviously not the same as getting a full wave of your own, but at least it's something.
Sacrifice for the greater good, at least for those turret plates that you can see on your screen that Wink and Xiaoxi were picking up. Now back in the bottom lane, pushing them off. Herald goes down. Tien actually set up with a pretty good jungle start, as Wei could be doing the same with a dive ready.
It's really great, right? They know that Tien's on the top side since he just took the Herald. They're going to abuse this window they get with FunFun to threaten a dive onto the bot side of the map.
Respect being paid by LWX and Chris, who both have the ultimate. Orianna moving as well. That's Doomby. Both summoners available. Khan even comes down, as it might just be turned to FunFun. Justice punch away. They need a knock-up, which they'll find. The Bellows Breath, the damage call, the Forge God, Shockwave. Doomby, that sucked.
That was so late. You had so many good opportunities to hit that. I don't think they would have been able to finish off a kill regardless, but not even able to force a flash to where, had he just done that right when the knockup came through or right after, right, you get FunFun's flash for sure.
I mean, you sacrifice 160 gold through the turret plating of Xiaobai, who now has a 20 CS lead, so things are looking pretty good here in Game 1 for eStar's topside volley bet.
And we talked about how eStar are going to be the ones who come online earlier, so they're not going to be afraid to start taking these 5v5s once we get this Triforce out of this Volibear and this Protobelt coming in for FunFun.
You mentioned very much about the proactivity, so I'm expecting Lyric to see more dives on the way for eStar, more of that proactivity building the snowball here in the early game.
Yep, so eStar will, again, constantly be the ones to have these aggressive options, and we see aggressive options here with Xiaobai having the Volibear into the Ornn matchup. Pretty strange to see Xiaobai bullying out an enemy top laner, but again, I guess it's the dynamic of the matchup.
It's a new day, right? Especially when you're an Ornn. As Khan is building towards Bramblefest. Picked up the Bammy Cinder a little bit earlier. You always say you like to see this, seeing a Bammy Cinder built for the team fight. At least for the Sunfire option.
I'm the opposite. I love seeing the Bramblefest.
Oh, that's the one.
Look, I'm all about lane kingdom. So when I see an LPL top laner, you know, put it all on the table, say, no, I'm not going to fall down in CS to you. I'm going to fight you.
I feel like you changed your answer.
No, I don't. I've never preferred bombs.
Okay. So you prefer the big boys.
Exactly.
Okay. We'll put that on record this time around. Hey, Dragon's up. Rift Herald's mid. Looks like we're going to have a fight.
Yes, we are, and eStar definitely going to lose some plates in the mid lane. There's no position to react.
TP, it's Khan coming in the backside. It's Xiaoxi, or Chris rather, who's walking a bit far forward. Khan joins the fray. Wink over the wall was a bit of a blunder as the volleyball finally comes through, but set ult into the backline from Chris. The hero's entrance late, but still rides on down. The Haymaker stops Wei, and eStar, I'm not sure you wanted to take that fight when you go in with mistimed ultis. FunFun running for his life at the distance with the smite down and the auto gives Tien more blood.
Hysterics, they lost a bunch of plates mid from the Herald. They lost the fight and all the kills, and now FPX are going to be the ones who are able to take this dragon. And the worst part about that fight, in my opinion, was the fact that Khan was TPing in without Call of the Forge God.
Yep.
So you should feel pretty decent as eStar to look for that fight. But somehow, Wink ends up right in front of Khan and Tien.
I don't know if he flashed or arcane shift over the wall, but he into the whole team of FPX.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it either. My eyes were on the bear, and suddenly I see Wink is then. You look at the rest of their comp, it's like, who now has the damage?
Teleport coming in. This is FunFun a level down, but remember, Shockwave wasn't used in the last play. It is available. Doomby cleanses away, gets a two-man Shockwave. Doesn't have the flash, though. Runs to his team. It's Crisp alongside the flash dredge line. He starts punish. Doomby overstaying. Yep. As bear time, LWX is a mighty peasant in the way of the bear god kill. Wow. Xiaoxi still got it.
If there's one thing you can always count on, it is Xiaoxi hitting almost any hook he throws, and he's also not shy about throwing those hooks. He's going to just throw them off cooldown. We've seen him flash over wall and terrain blind, just throwing out hooks left and right.
Well, he's got 100% kill participation once again in a game. And FPX picked up a big gold lead from that last fight, but eStar with a couple of good picks onto Doomby and onto LWX, who also overstayed, funnily enough, has brought the gold into range.
And it's always fun when we get Infernal Ricks, right? So we're just going to get a ton of damage, especially when you look at FPX's comp, which 3 big damage carries on their side. Just going to hurt so much any member of eStar if they're able to start stacking up these dragons.
I need to see that last fight, Lyric. I need to see what happened to Wink. I guess it's a time for a VOD, huh?
That it is, that it is. But at the same time, game going to go back to a slower pace, and when both comps are set up to look for these sort of 5v5s, you would expect us to not see a lot of action until we come to neutral objectives. But Khan doing a great job of being willing to give up a wave in the top half of the map to lean mid and help Doinby just secure that turret.
That pressure gives 450 gold to Doinby. He's picked up first turret blood. And even though he's whiffed the shockwave, at least once, Doinby set up for success.
His Orianna hasn't been so convincing so far, but at the same time, like, this isn't a champion we really know Doinby for. He gets a bit of time. What's that famous game, the Meteos Lee Sin, where people say it took him like an hour to learn? I think we give Doinby the same, the same time. So we'll come back to this in like 30 minutes and see if he's hitting those shockwaves.
I feel like it's taken Xmithy years to learn Sejuani as well. You know, that's kind of another example.
This cast is not meant to flame NALCS.
But we do every time. I don't know if...
we are just fortunate bystanders who get to watch, you know, the top tier of League of Legends.
Get to talk about it from Shanghai as well, from our safety little netters. FPX pick up another turret. That's a 3K gold lead now after finding mid and top and the Herald. FPX are really snowballing this.
Wink and Xiaoxi just going to be fine taking another turret.
Sure.
Khan nowhere close to being here to answering, but the positive thing is, sure, Volibear will win in side lanes against Ornn, but this won't turn into a tangible win condition for eStar. It's just going to be a bit more gold in their pocket.
Okay. Doinby backing away after that little tickle of the toe. They do
also,
get the turret in the bottom side.
interesting that they give Doinby the Herald.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I mean, that is a good question because the only turret left open is the bot lane tier 1. So unless they're going to be able to get an extended push in mid or top side, which top side you doubt because now we're going to start playing more for Drakes, it's going to be very telegraphed where FPX are going to drop that Herald.
So we've experienced a slower game. You can see gold on the left-hand side of your screen. You all know what the case is. TN Doinby. Wink, of course, pushing out 2 turrets in total. Now that this game slowed down a bit, benefit for FPX or eStar? What does a slow-paced game look like? Because you talked about scaling for FPX and the way they've led this game.
Yeah, I think it looks great for FPX. I mean, even if we don't think of Kalista as a late-game AD carry, you have so much damage also coming out from the Orianna and Graves. LWX doesn't need to be relied on, and you still have an amazing front line in Set Ornn plus Ornn items.
Plus, the rest of the team, the damage is going to be absolutely exemplified with so much gold picked up early on.
Exactly. So the game slowing down is fine for the side of FPX.
They pick up the inner turret, more gold in the back pocket. Doinby runs back to mid and picks up a bit of farm. Small CS lead over his counterpart in FunPlus in Doinby Light. As look towards bottom, there's still 30 CS lead for Wink. Top side, CS lead has been short up. Xiaobai is actually down a level to Khan, so Khan getting towards that 14 point, starting to upgrade some items.
20 seconds till Dragon. One thing I want us to keep our eyes on is if you look at your mini-map in the bot lane, there is a blue ward very deep, so Xiaobai will be able to find a good flank if that's the route that eStars want to take.
Okay. There was a ward in lane as well that just expired.
Oh yeah, that one's gone, so now they only have the one right above Wolves. That one also just
Oh
expired.
no! Bad timing. They have a mid-wave, which is slowly getting taken. As Xiaoxi's walking into danger. Maybe it's Chris, though, who gets caught. Dredgeline, nice dodge. Flush with the face breaker. It's on to Big Bear Man as the kick from Wei just means Xiaoxi dies anyway. Hero's entrance 1 by 1. The shockwave will pull in FunPlus, who goes golden. And you know what? The flash might not save his life with the Haymaker following suit. FunPlus eventually goes down. Khan gets an extended searing charge. A double kill goes to Doinby. And eStar at this point are just committing to danger.
Let's be honest, seeing Wei kick Chris to Xiaoxi broke everyone's heart. I guess you have to sacrifice someone. I mean, you all end up going down regardless, but can you just imagine Xiaoxi just like turning his head like, oh god.
After the early game he's had, and this is how Wei repays him.
Ultimately, we've talked a lot about the Discalio on this cast and how it works in these comps to where you don't really have a great way of going in. And also, when you have an Ezreal up against the Kalista and Graves, right, you would typically rather be playing a comp that plays from a range rather than having to go in. But let's go back here. We see Xiaoxi looking for the hook, doesn't get it. Chris is like, hey, I'll go into you regardless. Wei says, sorry, bro, kicks him right over. And unlucky for FunPlus that I guess he thought he could save him. But you can obviously see the rest of eStar really don't want to go in. And then Khan hitting Call of the Forge God onto Wink, chains it into a knock-up, and that was just a series of unfortunate events coming out for eStar.
Yeah, they're now 5k goal behind. This game is falling out of favor as Chris hits flash for a bit of extra range. Facebreaker on Shouty. Tien's not there yet though, and Khan's not going to commit. But they're setting up for the future Baron, for the fight top side, and for these big spikes that they're now hitting.
And let's take a step back and talk about how we were setting up for eStar to making these dives off their level 6. We never saw that happen. They tried to start a dive before that,
Yep.
failed, fell behind, and then when they did finally get those ultimates, we never saw them try to either make a productive play around the volley bear side or even use his TP to set up a dive bot.
Now it looks super hard to find how you beat this 2-item Orianna, this 2-item Graves, which has been there for a while. Also, second item almost complete for LWX. So
And you think about the dynamics of team fights, right? To where, sure, Wink outranges everyone on FPX, but that's not the case for anyone else, so that's not really a tangible way to win a fight. FPX also have a ton of engage, and FPX would love for eStar to walk into them, right? They have a bunch of low-range, like, high-damage DPS carries. Graves, Kalista, Set are just going to kite around the fight, find that engage on you, and win out.
And then Orianna with the Spellbinder at max stacks. Probably going to one-shot whoever's left. So things looking good here for FPX in game 1.
Also, Ornn items are going to start coming out, too.
I mean, the gold value is skewed, right? We've got 5k in the top of your screen, but 2 items already upgraded for Khan, heading towards level 14. And the Blade of the Ruined King can be upgraded. The Black Cleaver can be upgraded as well.
You know what's also depressing about the last fight where we were talking about flanks and how that's a way for eStar to get on the back line? Those wards weren't timing out. eStar were just setting up new wards, so those wards obviously disappeared.
Oh,
so it's
no.
like they didn't want the flank, but without the flank, their only option is Shouty hitting a hook. And that's still not really a good way of Fun getting into the back line.
Or Xiao Bai being able to ult to the back line as well, I guess, with the small jump.
Yeah, exactly. With the small jump. Emphasis on small.
You might have to use it now. There we go. Look at him go. Big bear.
I think in the ability, it's called a leap, and it definitely looks a lot more like a leap.
It's
I think
it's a
pounce
jump.
is a good word as well.
Okay. Either way, Stormbringer's down. As, okay.
Well,
Shouty's tilted after before. This is on you, Wei.
he's still salty about his team sending him to his death.
2 versus 3. Tien with the collateral damage. A nice little lightning surge as Tien will die. Shut down over to Xiao Bai. That's good.
At the same time, FPX probably recognized that they shouldn't have been like pushing that deep in the bot lane. So Tien willingly kind of saying, okay, I'm going down. Khan, you get out of here. Trying to be cheeky by going onto this Baron, but doesn't turn into anything. But still, they do force a TP out of Fun, so you get something.
Something is good. eStar's moving across mid. They got a dragon in about a minute as well. 2MB shoves top, though. That'll require some attention. As he backs, he does get a Banshee's Veil. Also, good news. 3 items here for the Orianna mid. And first upgradable item for Khan now available as he's going to head back to base. Curious, Tien,
Also,
I think, is going to walk towards him.
We just need to bring everyone up to speed that actually, let's take a second and see this. So just hits the active on the GLP, turns that into an ultimate, and
Spellbinder.
that's enough damage. Yeah, Spellbinder, that's enough damage to just burst out Shouty. But FPX, 5k gold up. They already have one of the Infernal Dragons, so their damage already being amplified. And we've already set up how their comp does scale a lot better into the game. They have more options in terms of engage and kind of disengaging with all of these phase rushes. So
Plus on items as well.
FPX are in a great place.
Yeah. Black Cleaver was given Obsidian for Tien. Tien's had a really good game, we have to say. Part of that engage in the bottom side where he got caught out. Tien has controlled this map, and FPX controlling alongside with it with Dragon up, leading to the next soul point.
Yep, so now we need to see, actually, eStar are just going to give it up unless Wei wants to try and sacrifice himself for a steal, which doesn't look like it, but going back to talking about Tien and that cheeky play bot, right, that's not even necessarily a mistake.
Yep.
They knew what they were doing was greedy, could be punished. They just felt like they're so far ahead they could do it.
That's true. And it hasn't really mattered, right? Another Dragon given up, heading towards Baron to threaten the play. Wei just wants the Scuttle Crab. He'll smite it down, but now the question is, does he give up his life for it? Over the wall with the Blast Cone, it's going to miss. Wei's out.
No, it was really clean. There was really no good way of Khan hitting that Call of the Forge God with the way the terrain was, so overall, just clear win for Wake. Getting that Scuttle Crab, going to be able to notice if FPX do start onto the Baron, unless, you know, they're on red side, so they can always blast plant over and try to do it from behind.
Yeah.
But
Hang on. Shockwave, Shalsey knocked up again, and into the middle comes Galio, so this might be okay. Khan doesn't have the ultimate. Flash in from Chris. The damage to follow up, not existent as a double knock-up. Khan flashes himself, pulled back in with a dredge line, and FPX now bring in LWX as Tien with the follow-up, the flash in with dissonance from Doomby. A two-man talk for the re-engage as the Stormbringer from Xiaobai will crack some thunderclouds over FPX. Doomby goes down as well because Wink is a mighty hero himself. The Sky Splitter follow-up, the engage continues, and Wink is the hero they need. FPX fought off. They went too far.
yeah, that started off so strange with Chris flashing in and going for the E. He could have actually ulted one of the members of eStar into his team and under the turret, but instead tries to get the E, gets CC chained until he gets bursted out, and FPX are still trying to go with this fight where they're at a numbers disadvantage, and they get punished for it.
And they went in one by one.
Yes, they did.
So,
That was a good observation.
ready?
See here.
Fight.
So they try to get the pick onto Shalsey once again. They'll get out of the way of the Galio ultimate. Look at Crisp here. Flashton goes for the E. Could have tried to ult him into the team. Just gets CC'd to death. Isn't able to do anything. The rest of the members of eStar of FPX aren't exactly here. Now they're running forward where they have no more ways of engaging. And it leaves Wink off to the side. Great bait from him to get Khan to go for the knockup and then E over the wall. And now that you have no other ways of running into eStars, we said that Ezreal does outrange everyone on the side of FPX, so it does become a realistic win condition to just play through that.
And Wink was the most fed member. Wink is still up 60 CS, has the Trinity Force Ezreal build, and is heading towards the Death Dance. Also note that Xiaobai picked up some pretty good resources in the early game as well. And there you go. 6.5k damage from Wink. Cleaned up the rest. And even though Xiaobai doesn't have the damage, you have to note that he was the one who came through and used the Galio bait. Really nice to see the coordination between the solo lanes of eStar.
And the game now is so close, right? We're neck and neck, only a 2k gold difference, so this next Dragon's obviously going to be the changing point of the game. If FPX can get it, it looks as good as over, but at the same time, now eStar at least aren't as much at a deficit to go for a fight, and they've realized, hey, if we can bait out the Call of the Forge God, and if Chris can't ult one of us into the team, very hard for them to run forward.
Because it wasn't around in that last fight.
True, wasn't around the last fight. At the same time, though, even if Crisp didn't get a good ultimate, I guess you do always have the option of LWX throwing Crisp in the fight, so there are more tools there, and in hindsight, it really does just look like an FPX misplay.
Well, eStar have positional advantage in the river. Control wards put down, a minute 40 till we see that fight for the Dragon. FPX grouped up mid. We're A-ramming a little bit here. 5 versus 4. But Galio with ulti. His barrier has teleport. He's nearby. Wei wants to find a way into the fight. No pun intended, as FunFun now joins in. And I do like our LPL A-rams. It's tension building. You know, it's like going on a first date. You don't know where it's going to lead. Are we going back to our house, or are you taking me for ice cream? A lot of the time, it's neither, and you get very disappointed. I'm not speaking from personal experience. Just trying to imitate.
Hysterics with the
A relationship advice.
There was no advice. There was just kind of like personal disappointment. Thank you for sharing, though.
Hey.
I can feel our bond strengthening.
Oh, okay. Maybe so can Chris, who's been caught out. And a lot of damage to come through. Haymaker delays, Sky Splitter, but the Fates call for the re-engage. Call the Forge God. Nails down one into the back line. It's Lee Sin taken down. 4 versus 5 with Khan at full health. FPX don't care if Chris was low. He has some HP regen. And eStar forced out of mid means Dragon's a serious threat.
And overall, the beautiful play for me was Dwinby actually using his ultimate when Crisp got caught out, so kind of pulled the members of eStars in and allowed Crisp the extra time to get out of there.
If eStar walk into this, it's going to mean so much more than just the Dragon Soul. They're trying to delay and wait. Weighs up in 15 seconds. Xiaobai coming in around the side. Spots out Crisp from backing away. As
Now
Tier
they have
gets low.
4v4. And remember, eStar still have engage. They can still just throw out the dredge line and hope to pick someone off, to where FPX have nothing.
Look at where Doomby's ulti's at. 10 seconds. See what happens. Dredge line wide. Wink poking them down yet again. Xiaobai in the position, but Crisp is going to spot him out. Khan running forward. Dragon secured though. Infernal Soul means they turn onto this top lane. And Shockwave misses, but Khan does not. Well done from the Ornn. They get the soul and they get a kill.
Luckily, they have the Callista. They feel confident in Tien's Smite. They do secure the Infernal Drake. once again, Dwinby gets leeway on these ultimates. The counter keeps going. And great engage from Khan on the end of that to pick off Xiaobai. And now we would expect to be in a place where the fight should look more one-sided.
I know it's highlighting Dwinby. He's got 5 kills. He's got a Magi Soul Stealer as his 4th item, plus the needlessly large rod. But needs to be a highlight on Khan. Khan has been pretty good this game. Has been pretty on point with the Searing charges. Now has 2.5 items.
He's in a lot of key combos, right?
Yep. Also, he's going to start upgrading your items. Be grateful for that. He's level 16. Dwinby, if he gets a Rabadon's death cap, excuse me, that'll be his.
Yep. Is obviously half the way there, does have one needlessly large rod right now and is going to be sitting on that. And now FPX, once their ultimates all do come up, which actually they're just about up, Kalista just about to get hers,
yep.
They can start trying to bait eStars into a fight around the Baron.
Vision cleared. eStars moving in though. Actually, the vision secured by eStars, I should say. FPX only on the edge of the pit. They're sitting on a ward there as well. You have to say, eStar being very innovative with their vision this game as well.
And we see Wink's ultimate really does no damage to anyone on the side of FPX at this point. It's obviously going to be a lot more about whittling down the enemy team with, you know, consistent damage. I also like that he went for the Triforce rather than the Iceborne Gauntlet this time around, since he really is the only source of damage coming out from the side of eStar.
Gonna feel really good with that Last Whisper getting built as well, as Red Buff is the contestant. Does go over to LWX. eStars are moving in. Xiaobai is a hungry bet. Into the roly-poly. As Call the Forge God here. Khan's being caught out. We're highlighting him, but it sets up for the Shockwave. The biggest bait of this game is Dwinby getting his best damn Shockwave, and Khan survives. That was unexpected, to say the least.
Khan having the biggest forehead on Summoner's Rift, making the 10,000 IQ play. Doesn't even end up going down. An overall great kind of put-together play by FPX that these are the type of mechanical things you can't plan for and just need to come out from player skill.
And that's the whole team wiped by FunPlus and Xiaobai. They weren't expecting this, and Xiaobai now going to get caught out by Chris, who won't need the damage because Khan's on his way in. Good heal, but Xiaobai on the run.
Yeah, he actually might be able to get away. He's pretty fast.
Because LWX and Dwinby like, we're doing Baron, deal with him yourself.
I love how Dwinby keeps missing these.
Tien. Well, depth charge is available. Xiaoxi didn't use it. Now finds him. The collateral damage, but the rest of the team's coming through. The True Shot Barrage doesn't nail him down, and he survives. Unlucky. The Baron over to FPX, and that fight aroused me.
But I love how Dwinby flops his ultimate all game, and then...
So, you thought mine was bad.
And then, we see here, right, this is more a byproduct of all of eStar just all in Khan, thinking of the damage, which they pretty much do, right? If they had a bit more damage, this would be completely different. It's a bit unfortunate for them. He survives. Good ultimate coming in from Dwinby, just blowing everyone up. They already have the Infernal Soul with triple Infernal, so they just do so much damage. And we come off replay and...
Xiaoxi had such a good early game, and now he's caught out again.
Yeah,
he's still tilted, 100%.
The
There's no way.
I mean, is there anything like your bro betraying you, stabbing you in the back?
He's never fully recovered as FPX are running it down mid, and there's 4 versus 5 for 20 seconds after that gorgeous-looking team fight. This game, pretty much in the books. All they need to do is dot those I's, cross those T's, and take those inhibitors.
Let's remember that we set up eStar, and especially FunFun, right, as Dwinby Jr. and FPX Lite with how they've been looking to play with this iteration of the roster. And when you're facing the Masters who have been doing this for years now, you know, this could be an expected result.
He does need to pull something out of the hat, but backing away smartly here for FPXs. Look at our timer in the Baron buff. We're watching how Xiaoxi died. He's just kiting away.
Just great E coming out from Chris to stop him from getting away and able to close out that kill.
I think Khan deserves MVP. Tien's had a great game.
I feel like it's Tien.
Oh, but
this one's tough.
That bait, man. Dude.
It's actually kind of weird, too, because I would be surprised if Dwinby's leading the damage graph, and he obviously has his great kill participation, but something about those ultimates, it would just feel wrong.
He's got the Wooglet's Witch Cap now in the inventory.
Is that what it's called?
No, it's not. It's just the, oh my god, 1,000 AP! Woo! Well, That's a lot. He's got a crap load of AP.
That is what happens.
Magi's at 15 stacks. Shockwave disintegrates Xiaoxi again.
I'm actually surprised that they don't just have Con group here, because I was going to say, they can definitely dive.
They can end. Because Tian's going in. The kickback from Way, nice, but they're going to lose the inhib as LWX is just feeling himself
They
as
still
well.
have all their engaged tools, Hysterics.
Yeah, Call the Forge God going to end this one. eStars against the turrets. Burst Nexus turret down. Another engage from Chris. That's so nicely done. Doombee's damage is out of this world. And FPX end this one in style. That's how you do it when you're a world champion rising back to the top.
And overall, great to see FPX in a good form, especially starting with Tien, reading that early game dive from eStar, and then the game just kind of slowly falling in their favor from there.
That's the clean play you want to see. If you're an FPX fan, you want to see them rising back up to what was